Hey everyone, in this lesson we're going to be talking about how to find the area of basic or common two-dimensional shapes. So it's all about finding area, which I know a lot of you guys have seen in the past. I think this was like, I don't know, like an 8th grade standard if I remember correctly, or maybe 7th grade. But you may or may not remember some of these formulas, so you have to find the area of various geometric shapes. So I give you guys this page so you guys can either write them down, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do. The first one is the area of a square, which is just the side squared, whatever that is, or a squared if a is the value, the length of the side. For a circle, the area of a circle is pi r squared. For a rectangle is base times height. An ellipse is a times b, which is basically the length and width from edge to edge of the ellipse, multiplied by the value of pi. And then for a parallelogram is base times height. For a right triangle, or actually I should say any triangle, is 1/2 base times height. For a rhombus is 1/2 PQ, kind of like the same as an ellipse. The difference is that you multiply by 1/2, not by pi. And then finally, a trapezoid is 1/2 the first base plus the second base times the height. The area of a trapezoid and area of a triangle are like the same, 1/2 base times height. The difference is that there are two bases here. There is a base which is labeled as A, and there's another base which is labeled as B. So there are two bases here. And then for an equilateral triangle, if you come across that situation, is the area is the third root of 3. I'm sorry, the square root of 3 divided by 4 multiplied by b squared. Okay, so now that you guys saw the formulas, basically this lesson is going to be all about just showing you guys how to use the formulas, and that's essentially it. So example number 1 says, identify the shape below. So the first thing you need to figure out is what shape is it that they're actually showing you. And then once you do that, find the area of the figure, including the units if they give you any. So in this case, we have a parallelogram. So hopefully you guys got that right. Parallelogram is right here. The parallelogram area formula is base times height. So basically, for a parallelogram, the reason why it's called a parallelogram is because the two sides across from each other are parallel. So these two lines are parallel, and these two lines are also parallel to each other. As you can see, the only numbers that we need are the base and the height. So the base in this case is equal to 15. The height in this case is equal to 6. So the area would be the base, which is 15 multiplied by 6. And in this case, we don't get units. So we don't have to worry about writing the units. But I'm still going to require you guys to, if they don't write you anything, if they don't give you anything, you just write units squared, whatever those units may be. So the area of this parallelogram is 90 units squared, whether that is inches, centimeters, millimeters, miles, whatever that may be. Okay, example number 2. Identify the shape below and find the area of the figure. So the shape in this case is called a trapezoid. Hopefully you guys got that right. So a trapezoid is right here. This is the shape. And the area formula is as follows. Area is 1/2 base times height, but the only difference is that there's two bases. So this is called a trapezoid. The area formula is area equals 1/2 the basis times the height. There are two bases, base 1 and base 2, which is basically the section that goes inside of the parentheses here. That's essentially it. It's kind of like the same as a triangle. So you take the two bases, add them up, divided by 2, and then multiply by the height. So in this case, the two bases are 45 and 121. We're going to be adding those two bases together. Once you're done with that, divide it by 2 and then multiply by the height, which in this case, the height is equal to 20. So I'm going to be multiplying this value by the number 20. Okay, the order doesn't really matter. You can go ahead and just do the inside first and then multiply by 20 and then divide. or you can add the inside first and then divide by 2 and then multiply by 20. However you decide to do it, as long as you do the parentheses first, you should get the same answer. So 45 plus 121 gives me 166. So this is 1/2 times 166 times 20. I'm going to go ahead and just do the first and the last. So just take 1/2 of 20, which is going to give me 10. That'll make my life easier. So this is going to give me 10 multiplied by 166, which means that I just add a 0 at the end. 1660 units squared. So if you're wondering where I got that 10 from, I basically took 1/2 and I multiplied it by 20 to get that 10. So there you go. That was the second example, and that was finding the area of a trapezoid. So hopefully this is easy peasy. All you're doing is using some formulas. Example 3. Identify the shape below and find the area of the figure. So in this case, this shape is called a triangle. Triangle because there are 3 angles in the shape. The area formula is kind of like a trapezoid. It's 1/2 base times height. The only difference is that there's only one base here. So we don't need to write base 1 plus base 2 because there's only one base. So you need the base and the height. So let's figure out what those two things are. So the base is the bottom, which in this case is the 8.2. The height is 4.5. That is the distance from the top of the triangle to the bottom of the triangle, right? The height. And then the 6, we don't need that for absolutely anything to figure out the area. So every now and then they'll give you some extra information that you don't actually need. So be careful with that. Make sure you understand how to use each one of these formulas. Okay, so let's plug this into the calculator. 1/2 the base, which we said was 8.2, multiplied by the height, which we said was 4.5. So the area of that triangle, according to my calculator that I have next to me here, so 8.2 times 4.5 divided by 2 is 18.45. So I get 18.45 units squared. So whatever these units are, right? They can be miles, they can be centimeters, meters, whatever distance unit that they give you. Okay, example number 4. Identify the shape below and find the area of the figure. Include units. So what shape is this? This is called a circle. That one should be easy, as many of the others. The area formula for a circle, area is equal to pi times the radius squared. So all we need is pi, which is just a constant number, 3.14159, times the radius squared. So if you notice, they don't give us a radius here. What this actually is, this 11 is a diameter. So the diameter, or D, is equal to 11. Oop, my bad. The diameter is equal to 11, but if you remember from the radius is equal to, or I'm sorry, 2 times the radius is equal to the diameter, or I should say this a different way. From the middle to the edge is the radius, right? So if you want to find the radius, all you have to do is take the diameter and divide it by 2. Or if you want to do this by solving this equation, if you divide by 2 on both sides, you get r is equal to the diameter divided by 2. So essentially, r is equal to the 11 divided by 2. And if you take 11 and divide it by 2, you get 5.5 or 5.5. So in this case, the radius is 5.5. Now that we have everything that we need, we could actually plug this into the formula to figure out what is the area of this shape or this specific circle. So we plug in area is equal to pi times 5.5 squared. If you plug in pi as 3.14 times 5.5 squared, that should give you the answer. But again, be very careful. Make sure you guys know the order of operations. First thing we need to do is take the exponent, and then once you're done taking the exponent, then you multiply by the 3.14. So first thing you need to do is multiply 5.5 by itself, or square it. And then once you're done with that, multiply it by 3.14. So if you did that correctly, you should have gotten that the area for this shape, or this circle, is 94.99. So I rounded to the nearest 2 decimal places. Depending on your rounding, you can just round the area to 95. But make sure you put that these are the units squared. Okay, so there you go. The last one, I think this is the last one. Yeah, the last one that we're going to be going over is this one, which is basically giving you identify the shape below and find the area of this image. This is a kite, which goes by a different name. It is called a rhombus, and if you notice, it's right here on the left hand side. So right here on the left hand side, the formula to find the area of a rhombus is 1/2, kind of like the base times the height. But in this case, we're not looking at the base or the height. We're looking at how far it extends from corner to corner. So, for example, from here to there, the distance from there to there is 11, as it is on the bottom here. And the distance from the top to the bottom is 7, as it is on the left hand side here. So all we're doing is, so for this rhombus, to find the area is 1/2 base times height, or I should say, I think I forgot what letters they use. I think they may have used just A and B, or P and Q. So there we go. Let's keep it consistent. So it's 1/2 PQ. So P multiplied by Q. So when we plug that in, the area is equal to 1/2 multiplied by 11, and then multiplied by 7. So 7 times 11, and then we divide that by 2. You can do it in whichever order you want. So 7 times 11, I got 77. And then I take that and divide it by 2, I got 38.5. So it's 1/2 of 77, which gives you 38.5 units squared. Okay, so all we're doing is using the formula. I hope this was very useful. If you guys were a little bit unclear about how to use the formula, see you guys on the next one.